Hi there, Prayer Plant Girl here. Today I am going to be taking these beautiful sweet potato vine or ipomia vine cuttings and potting them up. These are off the margarita tubers that I saved from my decorative potato vines last year, and I've grown slips. I've taken the slips and removed them from the tubers, and they are going through the water in this jar every day, so I need to get these potted into some soil so I can grow properly. Before I do that, let me just update you really quick on what the other tubers that I took these slips off of, and also the tuber that I'm growing for actual sweet potatoes that I'm hoping to plant and get growing in my yard. So I'm going to bring them off the grow shelf here and give you a quick look, and then I'm going to get these potted up. Right here is the container of tubers that I cut those slips off of that I showed you a minute ago. And they're growing lots more slips again. And that was the thing, they were just getting so full of slips that they were crowding each other out in here, so I cut the largest ones off. I can feel this is getting a little bit dry, so I need to remember to top up the moisture. And that was something else I found before I cut those first slips off, is that they really were drying out all the time. So I'm going to take this one and just show you real quick how you can get the slips off. Hopefully that gives you a really good view. And you can take a sharp knife, or you can just twist or pull them off like this. And then I found I could even separate them out a little bit further if necessary. Just pull them apart like that. Leave a couple good leaves, and I took the lower leaves off because they're going to go into water to sprout roots. Some of them that I pulled off had roots on them already, but you can see how easy it is just to separate them out. Even if they had roots, I still stuck them in the water just to develop the roots further, but that's basically what you need to do for that. So super easy. Let's see if there's one here with any roots on it. I think maybe this one has, yeah, it has some roots on it. So you can see how it could have some roots on it. So if you just kind of twist and wiggle it around a little bit, it pulls off. And then here it is with the roots on it there. So I would do the same thing of taking the lower leaves off, just so they're not rotting in the water. Probably take that one off too. Just anything that's going to be possibly below the water line you don't want in there, because it just makes the water skunky. And then I would just stick that whole thing in the water, and it'll develop even more roots like that. So that's this is a decorative vine. Now, technically, I mean, you can't sell these or anything because they're probably trademarked and regulated in that. But I think as long as you're just getting a few for your own household use, I think that's fine. I don't think the plant police will come to your house, but you should still support the growers because they put a lot of research and effort into making these plants. So that's the decorative ones. Get those out of my way. And then this is the tuber that I purchased just at my grocery store in a bag. And this is an edible sweet potato, and I have no idea what variety it is because it didn't say. But I don't know if I'll be able to even grow these to get any decent amount of potatoes off of them because we have such a short growing season here. But I thought it would be fun to try. And they've taken quite a while getting the sprouts going on them, but I think it's because they hadn't had as much kind of just rest time as the one that I had picked out last fall did. But now they're definitely starting to send some shoots up. And I can see, I don't know if you can see, there's lots of roots coming down there. So I'll leave these shoots to get a little bit taller, like probably 4 to 6 inches. They already have quite a few sets of leaves on them, but I think they could get a little bit larger. We'll see. And then I'll start pulling these off just exactly like I did with the others and put them in a dish of water and just kind of hold them as long as I can until it's warm enough to put them outside, which will be actually a few months here. So I might wind up having to pot them into some small pots and just have them kind of starting to grow in the house a little bit like that until they go out. We'll just see what the weather holds and how fast these plants move, but they certainly seem to be moving a lot slower than the decorative vines. So I'm not sure the time frame on this yet, but I'll put some dates on here so you can see when I had put this in the soil like this and started the spreading process. And I'll put some links to the video. I did another video showing what I was doing for this, so you can check that out if you're interested in the process a little bit more in detail. But now I'm just going to get the slips that I already pulled off, potted up, because like I said, they're going through the water all the time. I think they do better in some soil, so that's what I'm going to do. I have these slips I just pulled off, and I'll save these to put in this water dish after I get these plants potted up. So let's just set them kind of off to the side, and we'll pull these out, have a look at them. So hopefully you can see what a nice root system there is. You can see there's some dirt in the bottom of this. That's just because these roots had some of the soil on them when I pulled them off the tubers. And I'm not even sure how many I have here. So I'm just gonna kind of pull them apart and have a quick count. So it's 2. See, I have this one like this. So this I'm gonna pull apart, and I'm just pretty much just yanking on it. I probably won't bother saving this little one. Set it to the side. I'll remove the lower leaves from this one. So I pulled this plant was into 2 here. Now I could take cuttings and make it smaller. I'll probably just wind up pinching the top off of this. In fact, I'm gonna do that right now. So I'm just gonna come in here just above where there's some leaves coming, and I'm just gonna use my thumb and finger and just pull that off. That should just encourage it to send more side shooting and branching out and not make such a big, tall, long, viney thing. And I don't need so much coming off of it. I could stick this back in water and get it to root. So I'll set it with the rest. We'll just keep pulling these apart. So here's another one that has several coming off of one main stem. So just put 1, 2, just has a little bit of roots, so I'll maybe put that one back in water to root some more. 3, oh, that one got quite a bit of roots attached, so we'll plant that one up. Take these lower leaves off of this one, and that'll be good to plant. Here's another one that's gotten quite tall and lanky, so I'm just going to go in and just give it a pinch. So you can see how you could really wind up with quite a few of these plants. And I probably will stop letting this one reproduce here pretty soon. It's been fun to see how it'll go, but I mean, I only need so many, right? So just to get them out of the way, I'm going to take these that I just pulled off. Any that are big enough to save. This one, actually, I was going to reroot it, but it's not really worth it, I don't think. I have lots here. I don't probably need to reroot any. So I'm just going to go through. This one has several sets of leaves on it. And even when I pull off some of the lower leaves so that it can get the stem in water without leaves in water. Still quite a few leaves, so we'll do that one. And I dumped out the old water that was in my water cup here and just gave it a rinse and freshened it up. This is a really nice piece here, so this should have lots of places to root. It's a nice strong stem. And again, that one's kind of small. I could root it, just take that lower one off. I could root it, but I'm pretty sure I have more than I need here right now, so I'll stick these in the water dish, and that should be more than I need. So just set them in there, just so they're touching the water, and that's all they need, and they're just gonna go back on the grow shelf. So they have some light touching them. Now I have a little bit more room to work here. So I've just mixed up my own potting soil here. I labeled these cups, and I don't know how you can see it. I've just snipped the edges around the bottom there. Hopefully you can see that. right in there. See, that's snipped so water can drain out of these cups. These are just cups I had used last year for some other seedlings, and I thought they would be good to reuse. So this soil, now that these plants have roots on them and they're growing well, this soil has a little bit of all-purpose fertilizer in it. Well, it's not all-purpose, I guess. It's this. That's what I put in there. So, didn't choose it for any real particular reason other than I have this bag open right here, and it's a nice organic fertilizer that works well for me, and so I thought it would work well for this purpose. So I'm just taking, hopefully you can see there, I planted it fairly deep in the pot. The roots are just below the soil surface now, and I'm just going to fill up pretty much to those bottom leaves. And I'm just pushing the soil down enough so that it's settled around the root zone. There won't be any air pockets that can wreck the roots and kill them off. And that's all there is to it. And once I get these all potted up and in a watertight tray, I will fill up my watering can and I'll mix just a little bit of this root booster in, and this will give them a little bit of fertilizer right away and just help encourage good root growth down into this soil. And then the other fertilizer that I put in the soil, as the soil warms up and the bacteria and that start to break that down, all the little microbiome of the soil there, then we'll get that other fertilizer going into the root system and making for a healthy plant. I'll take this couple lower leaves off here. Ipomoea are pretty easy to propagate even if you buy some from the store. You know, they grow quite quickly, and you can, like for these decorative vines, you can take cuttings off of them, root them in water, just like I just kind of showed with these cuttings that I took off the tubers, and pot them up and get more that way. So as we're all maybe on a little bit of a tighter budget these days, you know, you want to support your plant growers too, but that's a way to kind of multiply your stock a little bit and still support them. So you can see there the roots are just kind of folded down in there on top of that soil that's down a little ways, and I'm just going to cover it up, give it a little push, get it all settled down and fill in around the stalk. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just going to keep doing this. It's very repetitive. I'm not going to make you watch me do these all, but I thought some of you might be interested in a little update about how these sweet potato vines and getting the slip start in that is going for me. And so I thought I would just update you with that. It's still full on winter outside here, so these will have to be living in my house, and I need to keep that in mind as I take cuttings off those tubers and think about how many I'm going to want growing in my house, along with all the other seeds that I'm starting and plants I'm starting this spring, because it's too cold even out in the greenhouse yet to have any of these. These are very heat-loving plant. They like full sun, lots of warmth. Any little bit of cold is going to take a sweet potato vine out, in my experience. So you definitely want to be careful with them, harden them off well when you're going to put them outside. You know, really take that time to get them out there and transitioned to the wind and the harsh sun rays, and also the cool nights, especially here on the prairies. You know, you want to really make sure you're transitioning them, because our nights tend not to get as hot in the summer as a lot of other places. So these plants that love heat, even though it's really hot during the day, can suffer a bit at night. It can also be good for our plants that need that little cool down at night and enjoy that. But so there, I have 4 planted so far and more than that left to go. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.